I'm a Brit who's been living in Spain for the past 5 years, and this is what I think of life here. Let's get right into it. If you're new here, my name is Jonny, as I said in the intro, originally from the UK, and I've been living and working here in Madrid for the past 5 years. On this channel, I talk a lot about life in Spain. I talk about personal finances, investing, living here, and I also talk travel. And in today's video, I'm going to share with you my thoughts and my opinion on what life over the past 5 years living in Spain here in Madrid has been like. I want this video to be a bit more conversational and informal compared to other videos that I have on the channel where I have, scripts and specific information that I want to get across, but I really just want to speak about them fairly freely in this video. So here we go. Let me start by telling you the story of how I came to Spain. So about 5 years ago, before I moved here, I was working in a small to medium-sized company in Paris, in France. Life in Paris was good. I wasn't making a great deal of money as it was my first job, but my expenses weren't that high either, so I was doing okay. I had friends, I was enjoying the city, was playing on a basketball team, so everything was good. But there was something that was drawing me to Spain that made me want to come here. Maybe the fact that, I went on holiday to Spain a lot with my family as a kid, albeit to the Canary Islands, which is, a little bit different from life in mainland Spain. But, that exposure to Spain and the experience of being there, it stuck with me and it had me, feeling curious and wanting to experience more of Spain. Around this time as well was when the Brexit deadline was looming in the UK. So the UK passport at this time still had all the benefits of EU membership, including freedom of movement between different countries. And so I took quite a gamble and I thought to myself, if I'm gonna move to Spain one day, if I want to do this, now is the easiest time to do it. And if I don't do it now, I don't know if I'll have the opportunity to do it again in my lifetime, if I'm going to lose all these freedom of movement benefits. And so long story short, I essentially found a job that allowed me to work from Spain and relocate to Spain as well. And so when I knew this was happening, I was super excited. I was 25 years old, so looking forward to what I thought was going to be a life of sunshine, reggaeton, and shopping at Mercadona, basically. That was the Spanish dream for me at the time from the experience that I'd had. But in all seriousness, at 25 years old, I was entering the world of professional work. Like my mindset, my priorities at the time were very different to what they are now. And I obviously learned a lot about life in Spain and adult life in Spain, I might add, since moving here. So obviously that shift in mindset and priorities has influenced some of my thoughts and opinions that are formed about living here. But yeah, let me give you my perspective in any case. So I'll start with the obvious one, which is the weather. Which coming from the UK, it's hard to do worse than that. So obviously there's parts of Spain where, the climate is pretty similar to the UK in the north. But obviously, on the coastal regions and even in Madrid where I live, the climate and the weather is just so much better than in the UK. I'm recording this video in November, end of November. It's only just starting to go cold now. I had a few rainy days. Here I feel like March, April, May is kind of the rainy season, and October as well. But the rest of the year, it's broadly sunny all year round. There's not a great deal of rainfall. It doesn't rain a lot like it does in the UK. And even in December, when it gets cold at night, the days through the winter are a lot milder compared to the UK, and there are a lot more sunny days as well. So I've really noticed in the UK and in France, when I lived there as well in December, around Christmas time, it was grey, it was dull, didn't have the same energy. But here in Spain, I just feel I got much more energy around the winter season. That said, obviously here in Madrid, it does get very, very hot in the summer as well. So that's something that takes some getting used to. And even then, it's not nice to go out in the street when it's 40 degrees in the middle of July in the afternoon. But yeah, 8-9 months out of the year at least, the weather is infinitely better than the UK, so I can't complain there. Staying somewhat related to the weather is the diversity of cities and regions of the country. I saw something online once about how France had hit the geographic lottery because it pretty much has everything. Spain, in a sense, almost has everything as well. You've got the green countryside regions with nice mountains up in the north. You've got the beautiful sunny beach destinations along the Costa del Sol, Costa Blanca, the Canary, Balearic Islands. You've got the big city vibe, if you like that, in Madrid, Barcelona, Valencia to some extent. You got a lot of historical or picturesque towns in Spain as well. You even got snow like the Sierra Nevada in Granada. You can ski there through the winter season. In the Sierra of Madrid as well, it snows through December, January. So yeah, whilst people obviously come to Spain for the sun and the good weather, like you have, a good range of climate and diversity here in the country that you can explore and enjoy. And it's really easy to get around and enjoy that as well, thanks to, really good transportation networks in the country. Like the roads are really good. Like starting in Madrid, you can get to pretty much anywhere in the country within 6-7 hours by car, which given the size of Spain, that's pretty good, I would say. Obviously, you got high-speed trains as well, which now, thanks to the entry of, competitors to Renfe, like Irio, like Wigo, and even Renfe's low-cost model Hablo. Train ticket prices here are pretty reasonable, and especially the journey times. Like Madrid to Barcelona is like 3 hours, Madrid to Valencia is about an hour and a half, Madrid to Cordoba in the south, again, it's like 3-4 hours. So you can get to most places in the country by train nice and easily. Flying as well, like you've got what's known as the Puente Aéreo in Madrid to fly between Madrid and Barcelona. It's essentially like express check-in and boarding, and within an hour, 15 minutes, you're between the two destinations. You can fly to the Balearic Islands within an hour, the Canary Islands within, I think it's just over an hour, maybe an hour and a half. You get to the autonomous cities in Africa. You get to Melilla from Spain as well, one of the autonomous cities in Africa by plane. You can get the ferry to Ceuta. And that's obviously countrywide. And then within the big cities, of course, you've got like metros in Madrid and Barcelona. You got tram networks, buses. And I mean, generally speaking, like transportation in Spain, like despite, one or two incidents in recent times, overall, I'd say it runs pretty well. So yeah, nice and easy to get around the country and see all that it has to offer. When you think about like how much there is to see and do in Spain, like if you're working, you can think like, when am I gonna have the time to do this? Well, there's actually like a lot of public holidays in Spain. You got like 2 in January, you've got Semana Santa or the Holy Week in March, April, whenever Easter falls, bank holiday in May, 1 in August, 1 in October, and then 3 in December, including Christmas Day as one of the holidays. And that's before you even start taking into account as well, like the regional holidays that fall as well, which are normally like most regions, let's say on top of what I just explained, you have like 2 or 3 like regional holidays as well. And when these holidays fall on like a Tuesday, Wednesday, or a Thursday, like what a lot of people will do is like they'll take an extra day of holiday to make it a long weekend, which is a concept known as a puente in Spanish, which is like a bridge. So basically like make a bridge between the holiday and the weekend to make it a long weekend. I mean, whether you're traveling or not, like, there's a good amount of public holidays here before you even get to like annual leave and holidays and everything. Obviously, like traveling though on these particular weekends, like, the roads are heaving, like there's going to be loads of passengers at the airport, at the train stations. So that's one of the things that you do have to be prepared for if you are going to travel on like a holiday. Now, there's no way I can talk about the good things in Spain without talking about Spanish food. Now, Spanish food, I have a history of being a picky eater, but like Spanish food, Spanish cuisine is really great. It's something that I enjoy, like, a good paella, like a tortilla. Even me, as someone who doesn't really like or eat ham, like jamón serrano and jamón ibérico, like Iberico and serrano ham, I enjoy them like from time to time. Like I could have something with jamón serrano. Then even like smaller little dishes and plates like pan con tomate, which is like bread and tomato, almost like an Italian brochetta, which is something from Catalonia, like is something that I incorporated somewhat into my like daily routine as like a breakfast. And the Mediterranean diet is one that's renowned for like its health benefits and all the good stuff that comes with that. So it's often like, the recommended diet here in Spain. And if you look at like health stats, you'll see like the life expectancy in Spain is very high. And I think a lot of it, is influenced by a good diet and a good, the Mediterranean diet. And even though I like Spanish food, it's not something that I eat like all the time. It's not something that I eat like on a daily, even weekly basis in some cases. But just for the stuff that I do eat, I just find like the quality of food here, like even at like Mercadona, like or Lidl or Carrefour, like the supermarket food quality is really, really good here. Like you'll get good fresh fruit, fresh vegetables. What I also like to do, and is good sometimes as well, is just like local fruit stores. They have really great quality fruit as well. So I just think like, yeah, in Spain, like there is so much variety of food and good quality food as well, that it makes it a lot easier to eat healthy and have a healthy diet, and of course, like healthy food here is really affordable as well. And last but not least, I want to talk about Spanish people. My experience with people here in Spain has been overwhelmingly positive. Like I find everyone I've met to be really open and friendly. There's quite a sense of community here as well. People seem very happy to want to talk to you, be friendly, and look out for one another generally, I'd say as well. And I can say that for everywhere I've been in Spain, like whether it's Andalusia, whether it's Valencia, whether it's Madrid. Yeah, like a positive experience in every part of Spain overall. I mean, maybe the fact that I speak Spanish has helped me in that. It's something, you know, I'm a big advocate for. Like, if you come and live here, like, and any country for that matter, is like to learn the language, because it will help you with integration, like understanding the culture. You'll gain a much deeper appreciation for it. And it will help you to socialize and make friends and take part in different social activities. So I think that's definitely helped. Even if you don't speak Spanish though, I think Spanish people are still nevertheless really friendly and open. And so whilst that was quite a long list of positive things I've experienced in my time here, now I'm going to talk about some of the things that I don't like as much or that have frustrated me over here. Let me start with the T word, taxes. Now, you know me, I like to try and be neutral and try and stick to the facts. So I'm really not going to try and go too much into the debate of whether taxes are high or taxes are low in Spain, because, you know, at the end of the day, like, there's multiple ways for you to determine that. Like, comparing it with your home country, thinking about your experience living in the country, like public services and all of that, in comparison with what you have to pay from the money you've earned to enjoy those benefits, basically. And so I have my opinion on this matter, but I think it's a bit subjective, really. By the way, if you want to form your own opinion on whether taxes are too high or too low in Spain, then be sure to check out my advanced tax calculator product on my website. And you can put in your numbers, basically your region of Spain, see what tax benefits perhaps apply to you, and then work out how much tax you would expect to pay on that. And you can form your opinion from that. What I will say though is just, I feel like the tax system in Spain is just so complicated. Like, you know, take the UK for example. Looking at your earned income, you have a tax-free allowance up to about £12,000 if I remember correctly. Above that, you've got another bracket at 20%, then the next one is 40%, and I believe there's another one at 45% now. So 3 brackets, basically. Capital gains tax, inheritance tax, it's flat. You know, stamp duty when you buy a property is a fixed percentage. Inheritance tax, like, you're exempt up to a certain amount. If you've got a little side hustle, you don't have to declare anything until you've made like $1,500 profit, basically. Let me give you an idea of what the equivalents are like in Spain. You've technically got a personal allowance in Spain, but it's calculated as like a personal minimum on your total income. On your earned income, you're getting taxed by the central government and by the autonomous community. And the autonomous communities apply different tax rates because they have control over the taxes that they collect. So someone living in Madrid will pay less tax than someone in Barcelona. Someone in Valencia will pay probably more than someone or similar in Catalonia. You've then got like the Basque country and Navarra that have their own tax systems. Property transfer tax when you buy a property in Spain varies again by the region as well. If you want to do a side hustle or some part-time gig, you know, typically if you're earning regularly, you need to sign up as an autonomo, pay social security, and you're taxed on that on top of your work income. If your parents want to give you some money and do things the right way, you got to declare it, even if in theory, you know, there's no tax to pay. You know, it's very different. Like, and your average person, like, probably doesn't understand, like, the intricate workings of the tax system in Spain. So trying to get to the bottom of different tax queries, like, sometimes there's so many factors that play into it that, you know, can seem like some super complex problem. And so, yeah, that's what I'll share about the tax system here. Related to that as well is like general bureaucracy and admin. Now, granted, the most difficult I think is at the start, because you arrive in Spain, you need to get a NIE, which is like your foreigner's ID number. You might need a social security number if you're trying to get work. You need to register with the town hall as a resident. And at the start, with like a lot of documents, you can end up in a bit of a chicken and egg situation, like which one comes first. This place will tell me I need this first, and then go there and they say I need the other one first. I mean, don't get me wrong, like obviously you can do it. It's just sometimes a little tricky, like knowing where to go, who you need to speak to, and especially like if you don't speak Spanish at the start, then that can be tricky as well. I think the biggest scary thing as well is like the availability of appointments at the moment. Like it's, even when I've like tried to get appointments like years ago, like it was challenging, but I understand like right now it can be really tricky to get appointments in extranjeria, which is like the immigration office or like the immigration part of like the national police who look after that sort of stuff. As I said in a previous video as well, like because of the absolute bureaucratic hell I went through in France, like Spain has like in my opinion been a breeze. It's not been bad at all. There's paperwork required, but I was pretty prepared like at each appointment I went to, knowing what's happened in the past. And I pretty much, you know, managed to solve everything like straight away. I have to say that for like general day-to-day stuff, like if you have a certificado digital, like a digital certificate or like clave pin, I talked about that in a previous video as well, it makes life much, much easier. So I think that like Spanish bureaucracy is not as bad and is improving somewhat in that sense, because there's a lot of things like tax declarations, like checking your personal data in like different public administrations. Like you can pretty much do most of it online, and updating certain information as well can be done online. And in some cases, you know, it saves a lot of time and you don't have to go try and make an appointment at some place to get it sorted out. By the way, guys, if the administrative processes are becoming a bit much and you'd rather have a professional go through them with you, then you can check out some of my partners in the video description, such as Bureaucracy and Spain Consulting, who'll be able to help you with different immigration and tax matters. And the last thing I want to talk about is fortunately something that has not personally impacted me, but I've seen it impact friends of mine, and I've seen it, you know, in the news a lot. And it's the opportunities that young people have here in Spain. As I say, because my job is not really linked to like business in Spain or the Spanish economy, I kind of been unaffected by this, but seeing like some of my friends and seeing like some of the average salaries online for like certain jobs. Salaries and wages in Spain are much lower than in other countries in the EU. A lot of people end up on essentially revolving temporary contracts, so they never have kind of stability in their job. They may find it difficult to find a job, and with the employment situation, with wages, salaries, many young people here don't really have the capacity to save money or invest money and are forced to either live with their parents or share an apartment. Now, don't get me wrong, like moving out to live on your own, like to rent or buy your own house, like is quite challenging, and it's obviously going to take some like savings and effort from one's part to put themselves in a position where they can be there. But as someone coming from the UK, and I believe in the US as well, like people in these two countries, like I think we tend to move out and live on our own like quite early on into young adulthood. Whereas in Spain, there's people who may be living with their parents or sharing a flat like well into their 30s, because with the cost of living that's increasing like faster than the rate of salaries is going up. And again, like salaries are not as high as in other parts of Europe. It's obviously much more challenging than it is in some other countries. Granted, this is, you know, becoming a wider problem across Europe, I would say. I wish they just did have like better employment prospects, like higher salaries, like incentives even to become entrepreneurs. But as I mentioned before, you know, like the bureaucratic hurdles can be very, very off-putting. And so with all of that said, how do I really feel about life in Spain? Well, to be honest, you know, I can't complain. You know, I've had a fantastic 5 years living here. Granted, there were 2 difficult years when the pandemic was going on. But overall, in spite of some of the less positive aspects that I mentioned about living here, you know, I think, as you heard, the list of positives is huge and definitely outweigh, at least for me, like the less positive aspects of living here. Over the past 5 years, like I've had some of my best life experiences living here as well. Like met my wife and got married here, traveled around the country, explored, and I've had the privilege to call this country home. And I'm so grateful for the positive experience I've had, the hospitality I've received, the friends I've made here in Spain. And I can't deny that this is a really great place to live. I'm gonna make a follow-up video to this one because I think as much as Spain, in my opinion, yeah, is a great country to live in and you can have some fantastic experiences here, I do think it suits certain people more than it suits others. So be sure to look out for an upcoming video called Should You Move to Spain? In the meantime, guys, I hope you found this video interesting and helpful. Leave a comment and let me know, guys, if you're thinking of moving to Spain or if you've also been living in Spain for a while, how has your experience been? If you want to find out more about specific aspects of life in Spain, then be sure to check out these 2 videos here where you can find out more. Till next time, I'll see you on the next one, and let's get this money.